In this video, you will learn the 4 money rules you need to succeed in today's increasingly competitive and unpredictable financial world. Number 1, stop spending money on things that fall in value. While living the good life is within reach for more people than ever, most people are trying to live a life they cannot afford. Most of us tend to act like we have wealth, even though, in reality, we are not wealthy. For example, you probably can't afford to buy a $15,000 Rolex. It's likely you won't even try. However, you can spend $400 on a Gucci watch. This is not one of the best ways to spend your money. If you invest the $400 for 40 years at an interest rate of 8%, it would grow to nearly $10,000. You have not only missed an opportunity to add a few more dollars to that retirement plan, but the watch won't be worth anywhere near $400 in 40 years. It will be a surprise if you still have it. On the other hand, you will not only still have the Rolex, but it will have held its value and probably have even appreciated. Not just because expensive watches become collector's items, but because such watches are laden with gold, which is a valuable commodity in any form. So if you want to boost your ability to build a sizable net worth, stop buying assets you can't afford, like $400 watches. Either buy a $15,000 watch, which is likely to hold its value or appreciate, or buy a $25 Timex. Better yet, ask your rich friend what time it is. Before we see the next money rule that you need to succeed in today's increasingly competitive and unpredictable financial world, take a second to like the video and subscribe if you are new. That said and done, here is our second money rule. Number 2, cut your debt load by 33%. Does it seem more challenging than ever for you to pay off your debts? Well, you are not crazy. It is more complex than ever. In fact, it's 33% harder. Here's why. Under the old tax rules in the US, the interest you paid for credit cards and auto loans was tax deductible. That means if you owed $5,000 on a credit card that charged 18%, you spent $900 in interest and got a $900 tax deduction. And if your taxable income was as little as $18,300, you would have been in the 33% tax bracket, meaning that a $900 interest payment saved you $300 in taxes. But under the current system, interest payments are no longer tax deductible. That means you are not getting the tax break you once got. Although the US government might have hoped that eliminating the tax deduction for debt payments would encourage consumers to eliminate their debt, it hasn't happened. Instead, personal bankruptcies are now at record highs, partly because the loss of tax savings has increased the cost of debt. Therefore, mortgages aside, if you must carry debt, you should take only 2/3 as much as you might have held back in the 1980s. Number 3, forget about getting married and focus on being married. If you are planning a wedding, please only spend what you have. And that applies to the parents and the bride and groom. Weddings are expensive. According to most estimates, the average wedding in the United States costs at least $15,000. You don't have to let a wedding send you into financial ruin. All you need to do, quite simply, is scale down. However, this is easier said than done. If you are the bride, you probably want a gorgeous white gown, a full orchestra, and flowers overflowing in the church for your wedding. I'm not saying you should forget all that and avoid having a wedding. Instead, I want to caution you only to spend what you can afford. Let's put this into perspective. Say you invite 200 guests at $50 per person. That's $10,000 just for the reception. Add the cost for the wedding dress and veil, $1,000, a band, $2,000, photographer, $2,500, liquor, $2,000, limo, $250, invitations, $600, rehearsal dinner, $1,500, and clergy fee, $250. It's easy to see how the bills can add up to $20,000, $30,000, or even $40,000 for an event that will last just 4 hours. Many people who cannot afford this expense incur it anyway. They take out home equity loans, borrow against their company retirement plans, or charge the wedding to credit cards. This is financial irresponsibility. Being in debt is no way for a bride and groom to start their marriage. Remember that money is the most significant cause of divorce in most cases. Why create such stress on your marriage for no good reason? Most people who overspend on their wedding are more concerned with getting married than being married. Take a deep breath and put the wedding into the proper perspective. It should be a beautiful event that you and your family and friends will remember forever. However, it shouldn't mean you will be paying it off forever. And lastly, number 4, Stop giving your children an allowance. Gone are the days when parents would hand their children 50 cents for popcorn. As any parent raising children today can tell you, kids are much more expensive than they used to be. And kids are going to get even more costly. If it costs you $7 to send your kid to the movies today, then it will cost your kids $24 to send their kids in 20 years. That's why you need to stop giving your kids an allowance for 2 reasons. A, to enlist their help in your fight to control costs, and B, to begin teaching them how money works. Instead of giving your kids an allowance, hire them. Pay them when they do chores or perform some previously agreed upon assignment. Just a few points to consider when you do this. Don't overpay them. If you move someone from welfare to employment, they should be able to earn more money than before. Otherwise, why should they bother working? But don't overcompensate them either. Making as little as 10% more than they earn back is enough. Make it clear you are not bribing them. For instance, you shouldn't have to pay your kids to take out the trash. A household requires everybody's participation to make the place work. Reserve paychecks only for tasks worthy of compensation, like fixing broken furniture in the house. Do not make all of their compensation performance-based. Most people work in occupations where doing a great job doesn't increase income. Teach your kids that doing a great job is often the reward. They shouldn't always assume that better performance will result in increased income immediately or at all. Teach your kids about the responsibilities that go with money. They should be taught to tithe a portion, save a bit, invest a fraction, and enjoy a piece. The opportunity to earn money brings with it specific obligations to their church and community, their family, their future, and themselves. Make sure your child learns that money itself is unimportant. It's what money can do that counts. Through this process, your kids will learn about value and how to assign different values to different things. This will teach them that life is about choices and how making choices affects them and those around them. This raises an important point. Once you show your kids how easy it is to save money and how quickly money can grow if left alone, you will probably find it challenging to get your children to spend any money. Although you will find their desire to save refreshing, encourage your kids to find enjoyment in the things that money lets them do. After all, those who focus too much on making money have little enjoyment of life, and those who fall in love with money indeed fall victim to the root of all evil. So be sure to teach your kids how to love what money can do, not money itself. Withhold taxes. Their first employer will certainly withhold taxes, so you might as well get them used to it. This will teach them that they cannot count on spending everything they earn, and if they are smart, they will set aside the money they are withholding and add it to their savings and investments. When your kids regret not having accumulated enough money to buy a major item, like a car, despite years of savings, they will be able to produce this additional windfall. You will not only look like a hero, but you will have taught them both the benefits of delayed satisfaction and the time value of money. Granted, if you apply the 4 money rules that you have learned in this video, you will succeed in today's increasingly competitive and unpredictable financial world. You have my best wishes. That said, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.